Mr. Applegate, thanks for joining us. The last time that we spoke was in 2016, right before you came very close to winning the 49th congressional seat. After that energy that you invested in that race, why was it important for you to run again?
Well, one, because Marines don't quit, and two, people in the 49th need representation that recognizes that we're in the middle of the longest war in our history, and we've gotten there without any authorization for the use of military force since right after 9/11, and it's unconstitutional. None of the congressional representatives on the Hill are doing anything about voting on that by roll call, and a lot of other things aren't getting done: education, renewable energy, as well as health care.
And as a retired Marine colonel, what do you think about the job President Donald Trump is doing so far as the Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces?
Well, he's unfit to command. I mean, my commercials have already been running. I said that in 2016 when I was asked to comment about Donald Trump. I never thought that he would be elected, but that's why we can't put a whole lot of trust in polls.
And a recent poll of likely voters in the 49th district finds that one of the biggest issues for these voters is the proposed border wall. If elected, under what conditions would you support funding this border wall project?
I cannot conceive of any condition that I would support the border wall. My first profession was a Marine infantry officer. Any Marine infantry officer knows that barriers can always be defeated, and they have to be observed by Marines. The concept of the border wall will never work. All we need to do is to look down at the demonstrations down in Tijuana and San Ysidro that show people sitting on top of those walls. What we need is a realistic approach to the southern border. We can accomplish that with drones and sensors. There's been huge advances in those areas, but I want to make a specific point. It's not because of people crossing the border. The net immigration from Mexico over the last 10 years has declined to a negative level, and that's been confirmed by the Pew Research Foundation. The drug cartels is a problem, but the wall is going to do nothing to prevent the drug cartels from getting their product across. But I want to make it real clear. I do not support the wall on the southern border.
And we've spoke about why you're running. Just to wrap up, can you tell the people out there what uniquely qualifies you to represent the 49th district as our final question?
Experience. Experience to understand the threats around the world and to know when they're being overblown or the military's being used improperly. We could get a much better evaluation of what we should do overseas if we called the right people up from the Pentagon. I know the right people in the Pentagon to ask to come up and testify, and they can always give you a much more realistic evaluation in terms of blood, treasure, and duration. And no one would have ever bought in to invading Iraq in the first place. So it's experience, it's a perspective from the standpoint of I have been talking to working families for the past 3 years. A few candidates have awoken to this need, but I grew up in a blue-collar family. I come from a working family. You can't say that you know working families if you've always been an attorney or have been in real estate or have inherited vast sums of money. I'm the one that's been the most connected to the district. I've raised the most money within the district, and I think when we get to June 6th, I'm going to be one of two that will be heading into the general election.
Doug Applegate, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you, Ebone.